there's a lot of noise online right now about AI. So what tools are helping businesses cut through and actually attract new customers?
I mean, I use so many tools, but it depends upon how complicated you want to get. We go anywhere from making our own AI employees that respond to every single message anyone would ever send to Ken, but you can also keep it as basic as just helping you with your workflow to make yourself more efficient and so where you can make a better quality service at a cheaper cost.
So let's talk about the AI that responds to people on social media, because I think a lot of the business owners can understand, you post things on social media, but you don't have time to sit there and respond to every email or every interaction that you get. But Josh, you have set up, I don't know what you call them, robots or AI tools that they understand what Ken would say and they say it how Ken would say it.
Yeah, so if anyone went and messaged Ken on Instagram right now, you will get a response, but it will be an AI response. The way that you need to think about it is kind of like how you have a front desk person at your business. You want that front desk person to be as responsive as humanly possible to get as quick feedback for sales as you can imagine. So it's the same thing with DMs, where you're looking to start and curate as many conversations with as many people as possible where you can help them with their problems. And if you know what problems they have, you know what product or service they're best fit for. If they're just good to be on your email list, if they're good to be for a high ticket offer, you know if they're good for a low ticket offer, and you can find this out incredibly quickly the same way your best sales team would, because you can train the AI model on exactly what your best sales team would do, where it's mainly them qualifying and asking questions to get to the best response to help the customer in the best way possible.
And this has been great for us because we have tried to hire so many people and tried to make them understand real estate so they could answer these questions that came in from people on social media or YouTube. The problem we always had was people did not understand everything that Ken did about real estate, and either the answers would be so general they weren't helpful, or sometimes they would just be flat out wrong. And the level of person that we would need to be able to answer these questions would be way too expensive for us to invest that into somebody that's just answering social media questions all day. So these AI tools, you can really train them so they know what to say, and they can vet the person and lead them down the funnels that we want for our goal. Like, we have some that lead to our investor relations team. We have other conversations that lead to some of our other products on our website, but the AI is smart enough to know which way to take them based on conversations.
Yeah, it's unbelievable how quickly it's progressing as well. So 6 months ago, to do what we're doing, it would have cost you $25,000 per month in manpower to have communications with as many people as we are on a day-to-day basis. Now it's becoming virtually free. You still need humans in the loop, but the AI trains and gets better over time, which is usually the opposite of employees. The more time they work for you, the more time off they want, the lazier they get. And so, not to be rude, but it's a lot easier when someone is going to do exactly what you tell it to do every single time.
So let's talk about a marketing department, Josh, because what Josh really has done, we used to have a whole marketing department that we were trying to use to get Ken sales and views on social media. The pivot we made was essentially Josh is now one of our only employees. We still have a videographer, we still have one or two more people, but he's the main person. So Josh, do you think that marketing departments are kind of on their way out and going to be replaced? Or do you think that marketing departments are just going to have to learn to use AI?
I think you're now so much more efficient with less people. The size of departments can be substantially smaller, but what you need is someone that both understands how to train an AI based on the content. So they need to have some level of real estate knowledge, in your case, which, because I've spent so much time around Ken, I've picked up a decent amount of real estate knowledge to where I know what Ken's going to say to some degree, but you also need to have marketing experience to know how to curate them and what funnel to put them in, how to classify them, what lead magnet to show which people. I don't think marketing departments are going to go away. I just think you can produce more results with way less people than you ever would need before.
How do you vet somebody to know if they understand AI? And because, we've hired marketing directors and it's old school marketing, right? And old school marketing versus new school is very different. So what kind of questions should somebody ask to understand if this marketing person they want to hire is well versed in AI?
Well, I'm hiring a lot of AI people right now, and I'm looking for someone that knows how to develop their own LLM. And that just means all ChatGPT is something called an LLM, which is a large language model, which takes a ridiculous amount of experience to know how to code a ChatGPT, obviously. And so depending on the level of expertise that you're looking for and how complex of things that you're doing, you're going to need different levels. For most people, they do not need anything more efficient than ChatGPT. Most people will be fine with ChatGPT and understanding how to build basic AI agents. If I was hiring someone for, let's say, a small business, and I wanted them to have AI experience, I would ask them, what AI agents have you built before, and what problems did they solve? And then can I see the workflow of that AI agent? All an AI agent is a multitude of different AI platforms that work together as an AI employee, you could call it, because one AI does not have the capability to do things on its own. Something like ChatGPT, all it can do is think and respond to whatever question you ask it. And it's trained to always answer any question. It's going to do the best of its ability to answer that question, but it's not always going to be right. So what you have to do is start to build AI agents which have different AIs working in tandem to where they can actually perform tasks the same way an employee would. So for the AI that we developed to respond to every single DM that Ken would get and understand the topics that they're talking about and knowing how to sell to them, that is using at least 15 different workflows just for that one thing to work. You're using ChatGPT to understand the knowledge base, but you have to combine that with so many other tools to make it work together.
So a lot of CEOs out there are busy and they're trying to get their biggest bang for their buck online with the most limited time that they have. So what would you say to them? Like, what's a good tool or thing for them to focus on to start using AI?
Basically, if you have zero experience, just start by asking ChatGPT anything that you would ask a high-level executive in your business or any question that you would have. What you're going to come to realize is ChatGPT knows the answer better than any one of your employees. And so what I've trained all my employees to do is they should never have a problem that comes to me, because now you can figure it out on your own. If you do not have employees that can figure it out on their own, then they're not using any sort of AI, because it's very easy to get a solution to your problems. And so my tolerance for incompetency is pretty much zero, and laziness, which is what I would find it to be if some minuscule task is coming up to the highest level of staff.
What's some of the biggest mistakes you see entrepreneurs make when they try to plug AI into their marketing or sales?
Realizing that AI is going to make a ton of mistakes still. We are so early, and AI makes a lot of mistakes very often. So you still need humans in the loop that understand the context and the problems that you're trying to solve and can use AI in tandem with the AI agents, in tandem with what your objectives are. We are not at the point, in my opinion, where AI can just take over everything. There is constantly mistakes that are being made, and it drives me crazy because sometimes you say it would just be quicker if I did this myself, but that's just why it takes a lot of time and effort to train the AIs really efficiently. And the biggest thing that you can do is know that AI, any sort of ChatGPT or LLM that you're communicating with, all it's doing is taking the entirety of the internet and giving a response to any question that you ask it. So if you're asking it a question and you're not getting the response that you want, that's your fault. You should be training the AI on the way you want it to think, to where it knows what part of the internet it should pull from to give you an answer.
So let's talk about social media, because Josh does all of our social media and our YouTube at KenCom. So Josh, what platforms do you find the most important for businesses that would be at Limitless?
And for that's to grow social media specifically?
Yep.
I use a variety of different AI softwares that help get better results on social media, but a lot of it is the human creativity and touch. So for YouTube specifically, you have to understand how the algorithm works. The algorithm rewards videos that keep people on the platform because YouTube gets paid by collecting ads when you're on the platform. So it makes it very clear as to what your job as a creator is. Your job is to get someone to click on your video, and it's to get them to watch the video. And if you can do that successfully, YouTube has the incentives to push your video out until people stop clicking on the video and they stop watching it. So regardless of what AI tools you're using, that is your job as a creator. Get someone to click on the video and get someone to watch it. It's incredibly simple, but it's very hard because there's so much competition for what you're doing. So the basics of having someone click on a video is just starting with what's the idea and how big is the market cap for the idea that I'm talking about. That just is the basics of any marketing campaign that you would start. And then it's, how do I bring this idea to as many people as possible in an interesting way? And that just means you're trying to spark curiosity. From when someone is on YouTube scrolling and they have infinite options, your video has to stand out to where they would rather watch your video as opposed to the other options. And for that, you're really trying to spark a curiosity and tension within the viewer to where they have to know what happens next for them to fulfill their unfulfilled desire that you promised. Then when they click on the video, you have to fulfill on that promise that you guaranteed them from the title and thumbnail. And then the rest of the video is just giving more and more valuable information, which fortunately, every single business owner here would have valuable information on their niche that most people on YouTube don't have. What most people on YouTube have is a good idea as to how to make a good video without any firsthand personal experience.
Yeah, and something Josh brought to our YouTube. So when we hired Josh for our YouTube, our views like nearly doubled, right? So what we were doing wrong is we were making the titles too niche. So instead of, how to do the best 1031 exchange, you could title the video, "You're losing so much money from what you don't know," right? So Josh, you were really helpful in that because when we were niching down our titles too much, we were losing so much of an audience. And people click on things that make them curious. And when you tell someone, look at all this money you're losing, it attracts a lot more people than how to do a 1031 exchange properly. So it all is about the title and the thumbnail. And then he also taught us that as soon as the video opens, you need a compelling hook. For those that watch Ken and my lives, we used to just take the first 15 minutes of our live to just chat, catch up on life, wait for more people to get in the room, and then we would start our live. Josh comes in, he's like, "What the heck are you guys doing? You need to start with a compelling hook." We're like, no, but we got to give people time to get into the live. Like there's like 20 people on when we first started. He goes, "Who cares how many people are live? There's like 1,000 people watching you live by the end of the video, and this video gets 60,000 views. Like, who cares about these 1,000 people?" And he showed us on the stats, look how many people are clicking out of your video while you guys are BSing the first, 5 or 10 minutes. You're losing like 70% of your traffic. So YouTube is saying, "Oh, this video sucks." People click on it and then they leave, right? But if you go straight into it, then people stay. And that's one of the biggest things that you taught us, because when we started doing that, our views rose and our traffic got better and YouTube promoted our videos more. But, when you're new, you're just trying to, do what you always would have done in like a newsletter or a presentation. But YouTube's so different. It's like, people sit there with the button ready to like move on to the next thing. So you got to constantly keep them entertained.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you guys would always talk about Joey when you first got him.
I know we did. We'd always talk about Joey, and Josh is like, "Get the dog off of the YouTube live. Like, this is not the time or place."
Yeah.
But anyways, what other tips would you give people if they were starting? Because I think a lot of people here are looking to start like a podcast or a YouTube channel to promote their business.
Yeah, the more niche down you are originally is actually the better. The thing is, there's different stages when you should be having different content strategies, and you guys were already dominating the multifamily real estate niche. And once you are number one in your space, that's when you start to broaden out. But initially, the more specifically targeted your videos are, the better they will be if your goal is to get customers. I know someone that is a good friend of mine in Arizona that he's a barber, and he's booked out 3 to 4 weeks in advance at all times. And he's charging over $100 per haircut, which is out of this world. But the only reason he can do that is because he has a massive Instagram following that he just grew by taking videos of all of his haircuts and position them in a unique way to where people were interested in watching. And that led to his calendar being booked out virtually forever and allowing him to raise his prices. So it is the most powerful tool for getting lead gen for your business at virtually no cost. All you really have to do is just show what you're doing at work. And there is nothing that would be boring because there's a niche for everything. Me and George were recently going over, George Gammon is another guy that I work with, and we like to talk about this stuff a lot. We were going over a mechanic that has over 2 million subscribers on YouTube, and all he does is show what he does to fix a car. So this guy's customers will come in and give them their Ford F-250, and he'll just show on YouTube what he's doing to fix the car. So at the same time, he's basically just putting out video testimonials as to why he's the best mechanic in Chicago, Illinois, or wherever he is. He's getting millions of views in the meantime, which book him out super far in advance, but it also drives other revenue streams. Once you start to get a lot of views, there's infinite ways for you to monetize that audience and that trust that you've curated over a long period of time.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Josh. Does anybody have any questions on AI, on YouTube, social media, anything? If you could come up here.
Okay. Sure. Well, thank you for all the information. But for a starter, that we know AI is so important, but hiring somebody like doing the very own platform that may be very costly, and then also you don't know if the people that you hire to develop that thing is the right person. So what you advise that for newbies jump right in?
The hard part is it would be very easy for someone to show you an AI agent that they made. And the problem is, if you have zero knowledge on the subject, you don't know to call them out if they're really truthful in what they're saying or not. It would be the same way in any niche, where if I had zero real estate knowledge, but I was hiring a real estate expert, I don't know if that guy's telling the truth or not because I don't know anything about real estate. So it's very challenging right now because it's very easy to sound super smart when you're looking to hire someone in AI because they can tell you all these fancy things that they can do, but the execution of it is actually very challenging in almost every single case. So the bottom line is it's very hard. And you really need someone on your team that has a base level understanding where they can do the interviewing and vetting of people to know if that person is legit or not.
And somebody over here had a question.
Great information. A lot of videos have been showing up on my YouTube feed with AI-generated voices that sound like either Oprah or famous business people. What are your thoughts on using like an AI mask or character or meme versus using your own personal image?
You can absolutely do both. The problem is YouTube and other social media, YouTube just rolled out a feature that is going to tell you if a video is AI or not. So if your goal is to monetize your channel by selling your product or service, it's going to be very challenging to do that, to build that level of trust if someone knows that they're hearing from an AI as opposed from a human. But I know a podcast from Arnold Schwarzenegger who is 100% AI. It's not him at all, and they built a very large following just by plugging in all of his books and all of his past speaking engagements to know what Arnold would say. And you can do that if your goal is simply to educate. The problem with looking to monetize it is people buy from people, and they want to have that eccentric level of trust within someone and feel the imperfections that people have. Most videos that get the most sales is when you're showing when you've done something wrong, not how smart and how much of a genius you are. So I think there is a lot of room for AI-only creators, but I don't know how well that's going to convert to monetizing for your business.
Okay. Somebody had a question?
Hey, thank you so much for the dog is super cute, by the way. Thank you so much for taking my question. So this I think is I imagine pretty common among people. So everyone's time strapped, but somehow managed to find time to use ChatGPT. Sorry, because it's very easy. You just it's like Google. You just chat box, right? You just ask what you ask. You can keep asking follow-up questions. Awesome. But a lot of people want to take the next step, learn how to build their own AI agents. So, can you just give me a quick shout out, like a list of terms, like for example, learn NAN, learn JSON, blah, blah, blah. Can you just give me a few keywords, you know what I mean? So I can just learn, so I know what I have to learn right away rather than trying to figure out what I should
Yeah,
learn.
so
And Josh, can you repeat his question just so they can hear it?
So he was asking what the first step to starting to understand how to build AI agents are. And I use 2 different AI agents. I originally started, every single feature was on make.com, but since then, make.com is easier and more idiot-proof, which I really needed. And so if you're more intelligent, N8N is by far the best AI agent model currently, which is what we've moved everything onto, but it's still not easy. If I had my AI agent workflow up, which I could do if we had time, you would see, I mean, it's literally over 35 different maneuvers as to one AI talks to another software, which then has to talk to another software, which talks to other things. It's honestly a very complicated learning curve initially. But just like anything, if you spend 5 to 10 hours studying how to build a basic AI agent, I learned with how to build a basic email AI agent, which scans through all of my emails, decides if it's a business opportunity, if it's spam, if it's just a person that I need to respond to, and it will auto-respond a message and wait for me to go into my email and hit send if I want to send it or not, or I can delete it. Because I hated looking at my email every single day. Annika, who's Ken's awesome assistant, she'll send thousands of emails every single day. And I don't like that, so I just wanted to solve a basic problem. So that is one thing that I've done that works really, really well, which is a basic AI agent that you can do in probably 2 hours with some basic understanding. And then once you learn the basics, you can start to get a lot more complicated and try and solve the really interesting problems.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Josh. We